What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is I, Randy with RTS Mobile Gaming, bringing you another fantastic War of Nova video for you today. In today's War of Nova video, we're going to be covering a ship tier list for PvP. We'll be taking a look at all of the different ships. I have every ship unlocked. I'm playing PvP on 2 servers. I've personally tested almost every ship out there, and if I haven't personally used that ship, I have been fighting against that ship and seen it in action. There is maybe only 1 or 2 ships I haven't seen to date in PvP, but I've taken a look at every ship that we've got. I'm going to be giving you a detailed analysis today, including putting it up on a tier list on tiermaker.com. Shout out to them for having a great product. And yes, as you can see, I've been dominating with everybody. I got a bunch of ships over level 40 here, 9 ships over level 40 for PvP. PvP rankings here on server 2. I'm not quite in the lead. I am in 3rd place, pretty close to taking over 2nd place from this Elda folk. And then Lokaghost, shout out to Lokaghost for being a dominator. He is just the most active PvPer on server 2 right now. In server 6, I also am almost at 1 million PvP points there, so we're having a lot of PvP on these different servers. Let's jump right into it. If you guys enjoyed today's content, feel free to like and subscribe. This will probably be a 15-minute video. I'll do my best to rapid fire these tier lists, but there are 30 or 40 ships to go through. So even if I am quick, if I spend 10 or 15 to 30 seconds on each ship, it's going to be a 15 to 20 minute video. So I'll try and keep it short. Like and subscribe. And by the way, shout out to GemZ for sponsoring today's content. Check the link to GemD's Discord in the video description below. Into the tier list itself, ladies and gentlemen, let's get rocking and rolling. I'm going to start by filling out, well, let me start with some ground rules. First off, S tier is obviously going to be the best ships out there. They're going to be based on the current Season 1 status. There are a dozen or so ships that have bugs that affect PvP mechanics. Some of those ships have bugs that make them massively strong in PvP. Some of them have bugs that make their abilities not work at all, making them very poor in PvP. This video tier list is based on Season 1, today's state of the game, based on whatever bugs are in the game today. And if they fix the bugs in the next 2 or 3 weeks as we head towards Season 2, we will do an updated tier list video talking about the status of the ships with bug fixes and rebalancing and things like that. But today, if you have any of the ships we're going to cover today on Father's Day, happy Father's Day. You're probably watching this video on Monday because I recorded it on Father's Day. But happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Based on the state of the game today, this is going to be where the ships are ranked in PvP. Okay, so let's get right to it. Now, the Ravager, I'm going to go ahead and drop the Ravager in the F tier. The Ravager has a number of abilities that are almost good, but not great. Therefore, doesn't really have a ton of synergy or damage output, or crowd control or anti-healing, so it's going to be dropped in the F tier. It's just not very effective in PvP. Next, let's move on to the Dread. The Dread I'm also going to drop into the F tier. The Dread, while it has some interesting abilities, really the only reason I have the Dread leveled up at a Mastery level 7 is to use the siege damage bonuses skills that it has, allowing me to allowing me to do more siege damage. Next, we have the Harbinger. This is a sad ship. This has made me very sad. Harbinger is going to go into the C tier. Harbinger is almost good, but not quite. It has a double strike. It has initiative. It has some anti-enemy command ship damage. But what it doesn't have is good synergy between its skill trees. So because it has lack of synergy between the skill trees, today Harbinger does not compete. So I'm going to put Harbinger on the C tier. It will beat a few ships, but against a lot of ships, it will get its butt whooped. Okay, Loki. Loki is going to go over here onto the C tier as well. Loki has 4 trees that have all interesting abilities. Some of them could be good, but the problem is it has none of those skill trees are great. They're all below average, so you need to have really high mastery level to even use Loki. And even if you have him at a very high mastery level, he's probably not going to perform that well. Omnis, this is going on the C tier. The Omnis is an interesting ship. It's a rare ship. It's easy to get mastery for. You can get it to a high mastery level. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not going to beat a lot of ships going on the C tier. Eclipse. This one is also going to be, unfortunately, on the C tier. The Eclipse itself does elemental type damage to all the targets on the battlefield at Mastery 0. It has an AoE attack that does a lot of elemental damage. It has some interesting abilities. It has an evasion skill. Unfortunately, right now, the evasion skill is bugged and it is not working. Therefore, there is no point to use the Eclipse in PvP today because its damage output is mediocre at best, and its main defensive skill, the evasion, is bugged. It is going in the C tier. Maybe when the evasion's fixed, it will go up into the B or maybe even the A tier if you're able to avoid a ton of damage in the first couple of rounds. That's a big benefit, but if it doesn't work, it's just a waste of points putting Eclipse in the C tier for Season 1. The Overlord is another ship that is very interesting. It doesn't quite put all the pieces together. It has a lot of unique abilities that don't have bad synergy, doesn't have great synergy. You probably need a pretty high mastery level to run a good Overlord. I would say for sure you want to be mastery level 5 for Overlord. So at mastery 3, which I have today, hasn't done that great. Even at mastery 5, again, you're going to need to be, level 45 plus or higher than mastery 5 to really make use of all the abilities. And even then, the Overlord, when I've played it, I have the Overlord at level 41 or 42. I've been trying it in PvP. Unfortunately, the Overlord is just missing something. It's missing an anti-heal or something like that to really give it an edge, so it's going on the B tier. Dark Fang, oh god, what a sad day. I thought the Dark Fang was going to be amazing in PvP. The Dark Fang was God mode in PvE here in Season 1. It was able to dominate every tile. It carried me to the world first Command Center level 10 here in War of Nova. I was on server 2. I did it towards the start of day 5. And the Dark Fang is how I was able to do that. Between the Dark Fang and my Sunder, I was able to massively monster destroy all of the PvE content in the game very quickly. So while it's a great PvE ship, unfortunately the Dark Fang just doesn't do enough damage. You can run any build you want on it. It does not have enough damage to actually kill enemy ships, and its healing is decent, but the way the heal mechanic works for the Dark Fang, you're stuck with using just one single troop type, because if you use multiple troop types, it'll put the healing buff on someone random. Widow. Now, this one's really interesting. The Widow could be an amazing ship. I'm going to drop it at B tier right now. But the Widow has the ability to potentially be a big damage ship for standard attacks. Its standard attacks are going to do a decent amount of damage. They are going to do some radiation damage, and is going to have some good synergy with its skills. The problem with the Widow is, again, it is missing something. It's missing an anti-heal or a big heal nuke. It's kind of missing that sustain or anti-sustain. Therefore, if you're fighting an enemy ship that has high healing, the Widow is going to get beat up a bit. So Widow's going in the B tier. Resolute, oh my goodness, this one is a strong B. The Resolute is kind of like a weaker version of the of the Hammerhead. The Resolute has some great ship damage abilities. It has some great medium ship damage abilities. I think it's a really interesting ship. I can see how if you have Resolute at like Mastery 10 or 15 and you can really use some of these skill points in the different skill trees, you can get some pretty good synergy. I would say if you can get Resolute to Mastery 15, you're going to have a ship that is going to be really competitive in PvP, especially considering it's a blue ship. There could even be cases where this is elevated to an A tier, depending on the scenario. I think it is going to beat a number of other ships, but I think it's going to lose to a bunch of ships too, so we're keeping it in the B tier. Ember Helm, this is another ship that it is also interesting. It's kind of like a C plus to a B minus. We'll put it down here in the C tier. The Ember Helm is like a worse version of the Odin. It has some of the similar command ship damage skills. But again, the Ember Helm just has low stats because the Ember Helm and the Resolute, all the blue ships have massively lower base ship stats than the purple or the yellow heroes. Unfortunately, the blue heroes, they just get knocked down a peg almost just to start the conversation. So while the Ember Helm is interesting, it's going in C tier. Elysian. Now this one is also a decent ship. I have been considering boosting this up. I have enough respect items to get it to Mastery 3. I think it could be a strong performer in the PvP space with the right build. I'm going to go ahead and put it at B tier. Dominus, this one is almost great. It's almost great, but not quite. It's going in the B tier. It has a lot of healing skills. It has a lot of interesting skills to it. a lot of very defensive and sustain skills. It doesn't have a ton of damage, and you have to run 3 units on it to make most use of its healing. Therefore, since you have to run 3 units on it, you leave yourself open to taking more damage from enemy ships such as Tempest, Moonviel, things like that. Some of the big players in PvP do damage to 2 or 3 ships on the battlefield. So if you want to counter enemy ship damage units, and you're going to run 3, in many cases, you're going to end up running 3 ships that are, at least 2 of them are going to be light craft ships, so you can get maximize your damage output. You're going to end up, and you're kind of stuck with melee units with Dominus, close range. It's not a bad ship. Maybe in the future it'll be A, but right now I'm putting it as B. Sun Warden. This one's also really interesting. I'm going to put this over here on the B tier. I think this is kind of the War of Nova's Rise to War Gandalf the Grey, or Gandalf the White, sorry. It has some elemental damage mitigation skills in the tier 2 skill tree for Mastery 3+. If you have Sun Warden at Mastery 3, you can definitely reduce all the damage you take. It has a lot of defensive skills. It has some stuns. It has some interesting abilities on it. Not a lot of damage. And I just, since the Mastery 3 Tier 2 ability tree doesn't actually reduce energy damage, it reduces like thermal and radiation and a third one, I'm forgetting the name right now. It doesn't reduce energy damage. Therefore, most of the damage I want to reduce in this game is energy damage from a lot of ships that do enemy damage, energy damage. Sun Warden is kind of, it has a miss there. If it blocked energy damage as well, Sun Warden could probably move up into the A tier, but since it doesn't block energy damage, we're going to keep it down in the B tier. Sylph. Sylph is a decent ship. It's not too bad. I've seen it do pretty decently in PvP. I'm actually going to put this in the B tier. You can run a good build on it. You can get some good stuff going. You can get some anti-evasion cooking, and it has some skills that have good synergy. I'll put it in the B tier. Cypher. This one is kind of like a C+, B-. I've seen it do decent. I don't think it's been great. I'm going to actually put it up here in the B tier for now. I'm going to put it down in the C tier. I lied. It's going in the C tier, ladies and gentlemen. Cypher is almost interesting, but not quite, so it's going down at the bottom. Okay, we're really moving and grooving now. We have the Valkyrie coming in. The Valkyrie has also some interesting damage output. It's not quite an A tier. I would put it at a B+ tier. The Valkyrie is going to come in, is going to do a little bit of elemental type damage to multiple units on the battlefield. It's going to have some good synergy with its skills. I don't think it's a bad ship. I think it's, like I said, a B, maybe a high B, a strong B. The Machina. Wow. This has the potential to be a monster of a ship, for sure. Machina is going on the A tier, ladies and gents. I'll be leveling this up very soon. I wish I had it at Mastery level 5, but I'll be leveling up the Machina very soon for PvP testing, even at Mastery level 2. The Machina is super, super strong. It can do a lot of great stuff. It has a lot of big damage output. It has confusion. It has all kinds of interesting stuff. But it's missing something. I think it's missing anti-heal. So it may fall into the same fate as the Overlord and the Widow, which are good ships that are missing an anti-heal. If Overlord and Widow had anti-heal, they'd probably be A tier. Machina is a little bit stronger than Overlord and Widow. I think it's either a B+ or an A-, but since I have high hopes for it and it drops a big energy damage nuke, you know I love energy damage, it drops a big energy damage nuke on 2 enemy units in round 1, in addition to applying confusion, that makes me very happy. Very high damage and confusion in round 1. It's a big deal for me. In addition, since it's energy damage, it will bypass a lot of defenses from the enemies. On to the Tyrant. The Tyrant is another interesting ship. It's almost good, but not quite. I put it similar effectiveness to the Valkyrie. You're really stuck with Tyrannus type troops, which isn't a bad thing because Tyrannus assassins and Tyrannus inquisitors are pretty strong. But you end up with some double strike, some high damage in the early rounds. I think it's a decent B ship. It's missing something. It doesn't do enough damage to win the fight in the first couple rounds, and it doesn't have anti-heal or strong healing skills, making it kind of weaker in the later fights. Against some of these other, F, C, and B tier ships, it might win against several of these ships, but it's going to lose against most of the A and S tiers. Starweaver. Ah, what a sad day here for me. Starweaver's going on the B tier, guys. I was really hoping for Starweaver to be amazing. I got Starweaver at Mastery Level 4. I just unlocked it like a day or two ago, maybe 3 days ago. I've been leveling it up. It's in its early 30s. And unfortunately, I'm just so sad to report that the Starweaver is not strong in PvP. It doesn't have great damage. It doesn't have great healing. It's kind of got average damage, average healing, average damage mitigation abilities, and that is where we are at today. Let's move on to the Sunder, guys. The Sunder's interesting as well. I'll put the Sunder at a B tier. It will beat a lot of these ships that you're seeing here. It can do a good job, especially at Mastery 5 when you run a Harpy with an anti-stun skill on the Sunder. You can run a great Mastery 5 build and probably do about 150,000 damage with your Harpies in the first couple rounds. But after that, it kind of falls off, and you're stuck running a very squishy build. It has similar healing to the Dark Fang. I think it's definitely stronger than the Dark Fang, so it's going at the B tier, but it's not going to be amazing. The Celestial has the capability of also being a decent ship. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the B tier. It's got some good damage skills, not amazing. It has some interesting unit bonuses, not amazing. It's not bad. I'm going on the B tier. Leviathan. Leviathan's going to go up here on the A tier, folks. Leviathan is pretty strong. It has good ship damage. It has good stacking damage mitigation skills for its units. It has medium level healing. So because of that, it's able to do some sustain, able to do some defensiveness, and able to hit out some good damage as well. It's a well-rounded A tier ship. It does a good job. Paladin. Also going on the A tier list. Paladin is pretty strong. The Paladin does a great job in avoiding damage for Eldarin ships. It has built-in evasion. It has very low damage output, but it has a lot of defensive and evasion abilities. So you're not going to win a fight with the Paladin quickly. My bunny is licking my kettlebell weights. You're not going to win a fight quickly with the Paladin, but you are most likely going to force a couple of painful draws where maybe 2 or 3 draws in, you're close to winning. Maybe 2 or 3 draws in, you're close to dying. I don't know. But the Paladin, for sure, is kind of your draw ship. This is going to force a bunch of draws because it's going to evade a massive amount of the damage. Against some ships that have anti-evasion, such as the Sylph and some of these other ships down here with anti-evasion, they will dominate the Paladin because the Paladin's main claim to fame is evasion, so it's very easy to counter. I have 3 officers myself, 3 different officers in the support class that can penetrate evasion for the first couple rounds, making the Paladin useless. I can probably kill the Paladin with a blue ship with anti-evasion because the Paladin really only has the evasion going for it, okay? But if you're fighting somebody without evasion countering, you will for sure draw them. It'll probably be in your favor. Because it can draw almost any ship out here that isn't using anti-evasion, it's going on the A tier. Odin. Odin is really interesting. I have Odin at Mastery 3 on a couple different servers. Odin, I think at Mastery 5, Odin could be A tier. But since I only have him at Mastery 3, he's really underperformed at Mastery Level 3. And I haven't tested him on Mastery 5. I haven't seen a Mastery 5 Odin. So just from a theory crafting standpoint, he could be a weak A. But because he has not Mastery 5, believe it or not, he's actually going to go on the B tier here. He's not great. He's middle of the road. He's mediocre. His damage output is not great until you get to the Mastery 5. And he's just not a fantastic ship. Aegis. Aegis is going on the A tier. Aegis is a pretty strong ship. It's very well rounded. It can do a great job. It has good early round damage. It has a little bit above average healing. Aegis and Leviathan kind of fit in the same category where they're these just solid, well-rounded ships that are hard to kill that do decent damage. Aegis and Leviathan go together. The Radiant. Wow. The Radiant's A tier. In fact, the Radiant is pretty close to S tier, and I'm going to tell you why. The Radiant itself, since it's a blue ship, and it's the same, actually, it's the same faction as Aegis, it's very similar to the Aegis. It also has good early round damage. It also has medium early round healing. When you actually look at skills and you compare all the different skills, the Radiant is even closer to the Leviathan. The Radiant is a blue version of the Leviathan that has some slightly more effective skill setups than the Leviathan, The only reason it's not better than the Leviathan in some setups is because the Radiant has much lower stats to start off with, since it's blue versus legendary. But I have defeated a Paladin, I have defeated an Aegis, I have defeated a Valkyrie, I have defeated all kinds of ships with my level 43 Radiant. My Radiant has been dominating everybody on the battlefield. It does a great job because, like I said, even though the stats are worse than the Aegis and the Leviathan, its skill setup has a little bit better synergy. So the Radiant is super interesting. It might be one of my favorite ships in the game, and it is free-to-play friendly because it is a blue ship. Okay, I'm leaving that in the A tier, almost S tier. Cryptic. This is an interesting ship. This ship does a lot of damage, has a crazy amount of damage output. It does a great job. Cryptic can kill some of the A and S tier ships that we'll be talking about in a minute. Cryptic has high damage, like I said. It has elemental type damage, does a good job. It is going in the A tier. The Cryptic is like the Machina. It's kind of missing something. They're like strong Bs or weak As. I'd say both the Cryptic and the Machina, I would put them as A- ships. They both do a good job. They fit in a similar category. Machina might be slightly better than the Cryptic in some scenarios, and let's move on. The Astaroth. This is going on the A tier. Ladies and gentlemen, the Astaroth has the potential to be an amazing, amazing ship. I have seen Jay Mills' Astaroth, which is stacked with great officers and high mastery level, dominate on the battlefield. I have experienced some fights with domination, but I'm going to tell you, since the Astaroth is missing healing, against some of these high damage ship setups like Leviathan, Aegis, Radiant, that do ship damage and healing and damage mitigation, against those combos, the Astaroth is going to do okay, but the Astaroth often does not win those fights. You end up with a high damage mitigation from the Astaroth in the first couple rounds, and then a few rounds later, you get bypassed in damage and healing. Okay? The Tempest. Wow. The Tempest is the top damage ship in the game. It is the highest damage ship in the game. There is no ship in this game with higher damage than Tempest. The problem with the Tempest is it does not do single target damage. It is reliant on AoE damage. So while the Tempest is the highest damage ship in the game, there is no ship that does even close to the amount of damage that the Tempest does in the right conditions. The Tempest, if you're fighting against a target that only has 1 or 2 strike ships on the battlefield, you are physically cutting your damage down by a third with each missing strike ship. It needs 3 strike ships on the battlefield to maximize its damage output. I have the Tempest at level 46. I have it at Mastery 4. It is not able to perform well. It gets dominated by almost every A-tier PvP ship. It can do a good job against some ships like Astaroth, against Paladin, if you have evasion penetration, things like that. It'll do a good job against some of these other ships. The Tempest will dominate, for example, the Dominus or the Tyrant that use multiple light strike crafts. But the Tempest is not able to hold a candle up to these single stack ship damage builds that have healing. And unfortunately, it's a strong B. I could potentially put Tempest on the A tier just because against some of these ships it does do enough damage where it's kind of God mode. I guess the way I'll factor it is the Tempest can beat 60 to 70% of the ships that are in the B tier or below, and a few of the A and S tier. So I guess you could say, like I said, I mean, it's like a weak A. I'll put it at a weak A, okay? It's not a strong A, it's a weak A. Onto the Hollowed. Wow! I have some theory crafting here for you guys. The Hollowed has the capability to be an A tier, and I'm going to tell you why. The Hollowed isn't going to win against a lot of ships, but the Hollowed does have some good damage, and most importantly, the Hollowed is one of the few ships in the game that could be considered a hard counter for command ship damage builds, where your command ship is the main damage dealer, such as Tempest, Leviathan, Aegis, Radiant, Machina, Cryptic, Widow. There's Resolute, Odin, Emberhelm, right? A lot of these ships that do high ship damage, The Hollowed in Mastery, now this is the asterisk, you need the Mastery 5 tree to be a hard counter. The Mastery 5 tree has a skill with a 100% chance to stun the enemy command ship for rounds 4, 5, 8, and 9. That is 40% of the fight. You will be stunning the enemy command ships. A lot of these command ships, such as Radiant and Aegis, a lot of them are going to really drop in damage if you stun them in rounds 4, 5, 8, and 9. Okay? So you can massively reduce the amount of damage the enemy command ships do. In addition, if the command ships are doing healing in those turns, you can reduce their healing by a massive amount. Hollowed is a solid A if you're Mastery 5. If you're Mastery 1, 2, 3, or 4 like me, it's probably a B tier. So I'm going to show you today it's a B tier for me. But if you have it at Mastery 5, you can be a hard counter for a lot of these ships, making it really, really interesting. Hollowed also has, I believe, an anti-heal, so it has a lot of good things going for it. The Revenant, folks, this is another well-rounded ship. It's not stellar. I'd say it's a solid A. The Revenant, I'm going to move it over here. We have the Aegis, the Radiant. All of these ships are similar. The Leviathan, okay, Revenant, Aegis, and Radiant. They all do above average damage. They do decent, good damage. Not like very solid, respectable damage. They have average level healing. They all have some type of defensive skills, which is great. And the Revenant is slightly better than these ships in the fact that it has a cleanse. The Revenant is able to cleanse its units in rounds 3, 6, and 9. So you can cleanse a debuff or an anti-heal or something like that. So I'd say, because it has a cleanse, in some cases it's a little bit better than these other ships. But in some fights, the Radiant or the Aegis is going to perform better. So Revenant's a solid A. I'll leave it up here. Wow. Hammerhead. It's going right up top, guys. Hammerhead is such an interesting ship. This is solid S tier. Hammerhead can beat most of the A tier. It can beat most of the B tier. It can beat all the C and the F tier units. The Radiant is super, super interesting. And the Radiant, not the Radiant. Well, the Radiant is amazing. But let's get on to the Hammerhead. The Hammerhead's really good. It does great damage. It has a lot of medium unit bonuses, so you end up doing a crazy amount of damage with your medium units and your Hammerhead in the first 3 rounds of the fight. And then if your initiative is in the right place, you can block healing from enemy ships in rounds 4, 5, 8, and 9. So while it's not quite as hard of a counter for ship damage builds as Hollowed, against enemy ship builds such as the ones we'll be talking about today that do high healing in rounds 4, 5, 8, and 9, the Hammerhead is going to block that. Okay? The Corruptor is real interesting as well. The Corruptor just throws a world of pain into everything. The Corruptor is almost never going to have a dominating victory. Occasionally it has a dominating victory. The Corruptor is going to be a ship that nobody can kill easily, especially at Mastery 5. Right now I have mine at Mastery 3, which makes it maybe an A+, but at Mastery 5, the Corruptor becomes an S. So today, my personal Corruptor is an A+. If I can get it to Mastery 5 and unlock the Strike Ship Confusion abilities, it's going to be an S tier. So that's where we're evaluating it today. The Corruptor has Confusion for the enemy command ship in rounds 3, 6, and 9. It has Confusion at Mastery 5 for the enemy strike crafts in round 3, 6, and 9. The Corruptor has some high damage bonuses for the first couple rounds of the fight. The Corruptor has anti-heal in round 4 of the fight. It blocks all of the healing on the battlefield for the rest of the fight. It's going to do a massive 15,000, 20,000 heal nuke on each one of your own strike ships. It's going to block all the heals for your ships and the enemy strike ships for the rest of the fight. That means for 7 rounds of the fight, there is no healing done except for yours in round 4. After that, there's no healing done. So you get 6 rounds of no healing. The enemy gets 7 rounds of no healing. Well, it depends on your initiative. Depends on if you're faster than the enemy command ship or not. If your initiative is better than the enemy command ship, you'll block its round 4 heals. If you're slower than the enemy command ship, you will heal. You'll block the heals after its round 4 nukes. Also, the Corruptor is bugged. It has an evasion skill that does not work. It has a great evasion skill, giving you a 60% chance to dodge all damage for the first couple rounds. The skill just physically doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. So when they fix that, it'll be even better. It'll have evasion mixed in. I'm putting it at the S tier, okay? Especially once they fix the evasion. All right, Kraken, folks, this one is going on the S tier for a very specific reason. First off, it is a strong ship. It does do good damage. It's a strong ship at Mastery 0. At Mastery 3, you unlock the evasion skill on the Kraken. The evasion skill is bugged. It isn't always bugged, but in many fights, it will trigger way more evasion instances than 4. The evasion skill in the Kraken's Mastery 3 tree is supposed to evade the first 4 attacks for your unit with the lowest defense. It will evade sometimes double that, if not more. It's bugged right now. So because you can evade a crazy amount of damage, the Kraken is an S tier ship for Season 1. I think once they fix the evasion, I think the Kraken is going to be down here in the A tier. But we're talking about today. If you have the Kraken today, it is S tier because it has big damage, and it has at Mastery 3 a broken evasion skill. Moonviel. Moonviel is probably the best ship in the game right now. It has no bugs. It's probably going to get rebalanced, maybe. I'd say it has top 5 damage in the game. Top 5 damage in the game goes to the Moonviel, hands down. It has top 2, maybe top 3 healing in the game. So you have top 5 damage in the game. It's also doing elemental damage, energy damage. So it's bypassing enemy high defense units. It has number 2 or number 3 best healing in the game. It's amazing. It has anti-heal. Has anti-heal, why not? Mixed in there for a couple rounds. It's just oh, and it has confusion. I'm trying to hold up a 4th finger. It has confusion on enemy strike crafts in the Mastery 3 tree. So you end up with crowd control, anti-heal, one of the top healers and one of the top damage dealers, all wrapped into one bow here, and it makes it, you can counter the Moonviel and kill it. You need a very specific build to counter and kill the Moonviel. Any one of the A and S tier ships with the right build can kill a Moonviel. You need an anti-energy chest and the right type of units. You need the right unit setup, and you can kill the Moonviel. But you have to be built specifically for killing the Moonviel. If you're not built specifically for killing a Moonviel, then you're not going to kill the Moonviel. Okay? But yeah, all right, folks. So this is the tier list. I thought I said I'd be about 20, 25 minutes, and it looks like we're about 5, 6, 7 minutes past that. So I'm going to end the video here. This is the Season 1 War of Nova ship tier list, ladies and gentlemen. If you've enjoyed today's content, like and subscribe. And again, thank you, GemZ, for sponsoring today's video.